Earlier in the program, we discussed the growing tensions in Ukraine, and now we're joined again by Representatives Brad Schneider, Sean Casten, and Robin Kelly. Again, we invited all the Republicans in Illinois' congressional delegation. None accepted our invitation tonight, but we do welcome all of you back again. Congressman Casten, I want to start with you because you've been hearing a lot of complaints about the Postal Service in your district. The House just voted today on more funding for USPS. What else is being done to address the problems there with the mail?
So the funding is critical that we've gone through. There's this problem in the postal. It's a created problem that we force the Postal Service to pre-fund all of their pensions and liabilities, which creates an accounting fiction of a loss that's not actually a real loss. So we voted on that today, and that's important. What's critical right now, we had 50% of all the calls we're getting in our district office right now are postal delays, and there's dynamics to go through. But my big concern is that we still do not have a fully staffed board. And when all the postal workers were working hard and dealing with COVID and the polar vortex last year, Louis DeJoy was cutting overtime, skimping money on maintenance. And a good CEO will be held accountable by a good board. A bad CEO will be held accountable by a good board. This board is not fully staffed, and the Senate really has to move to appoint the nominees that Biden has nominated so that they have a fully functioning board. We've sent a letter. We've been pushing the leadership in the Senate to do it, and it's just got to get done, and it's got to get done yesterday.
So we'll see when the Senate takes action on that. Congressman Schneider, as I understand, you just finished your second bout of COVID. We're glad that you're better. This comes as some governors have decided to lift their state's school mask mandates, and Governor Pritzker, as we mentioned here in Illinois, is going to make an announcement on that. There's lots of confusion among schools about what to do thanks to that Illinois court ruling. Do you believe schools should lift their mask mandates or keep them in place?
Well, I believe we have to follow the science, and we've seen with the Omicron surge that there was a big spike up and it's coming down. It's not yet over. As you noted, I got COVID last week and just near the tail end of my isolation. But we need to make sure we keep everybody safe. Thankfully, the vaccines kept me healthy. This was a mild case and kept the people around me from getting sick. But we have to figure out a way to move forward and get to a new normal, if you will, that allows our kids to go to school, people to go to work, and life to move forward, and not let COVID take over.
Well, does that new normal mean no more masks?
I think it'll depend on the time. You know, we get another surge that could change things. We've got to respond to the circumstances we face. But I'm hoping as the Omicron surge comes to an end, that we can get back to where we were in the fall, even pre-Delta. That life is pretty much back to, as much as possible, back to normal.
And Congresswoman Kelly, I mean, this court ruling in Illinois is causing confusion again today. Some schools doing away with the mask mandate, some schools keeping them around, parents kind of at each other's throats or at school administrators' throats. What do you think should happen in schools in Illinois?
Well, me personally, I still think that our young people should still have to wear masks, and we should do everything we can to try to get as many people vaccinated and boosted if appropriate. I don't think we should give up on that. And I still think, you know, for now at least, let's just be extra cautious. And even if we say until the middle of March or the 1st of April or something like that, depending on the environment. But I still think we should have to wear masks.
And
we're wearing them in Congress.
Right, and we'll await what Governor Pritzker's timeline is on that, as he hinted on at an announcement. Congressman Casten, is the U.S. ready for another variant should one arise?
I mean, we just passed 900,000 deaths. It's hard to believe we got to this point as it is. I think everybody's exhausted, right? But I think, you know, as my colleagues have said, we can't politicize the science. I think what's unfortunate about this decision in Illinois is that it's put the burden back on the schools. So you've got school districts now where some are doing one thing, some are doing the other. And wherever you stand as a parent, you're now saying, well, why is my district doing this and the other district's doing something different? And, you know, I appreciated that Pritzker took that pressure away. So, you know, I got COVID as well. I had a really mild case. Thankfully, I'm vaccinated and boosted. I also quarantined because it's not lost on me that we're losing, you know, we were losing a 9/11 worth of Americans every day, even in a highly vaccinated country at this point, which suggests that those of us who can transmit this disease, even if we're fine, we don't want to kill people, right? And so we just got to keep putting the science forward. We got to keep doing the right thing. And if we'd done that over the last 2 years, we might have already been through this. As it is, we have to have this question of what happens if we have another variant.
Certainly a staggering death toll that's approaching 1 million in the U.S. Hard to wrap your mind around. Congresswoman Kelly, Build Back Better, we've talked about this a lot on this program. It's been sort of declared DOA in the Senate a number of times because of Senators Manchin and Sinema. Are there any pieces of that bill that could get any support both in the House and the Senate?
Well, it's clear that we have to make adjustments, and I know there's conversations that are still going on. My staff is still communicating with Senate staff and other organizations. I have a bill in there that deals with Medicaid, and we're still talking about it. I do think we're going to have to parse pieces out. I don't think it's going to go. Obviously, it didn't go, and I think we'll have to parse certain pieces out, you know, one at a time to see what we can get passed. And hopefully some of the Medicaid parts of the bill will be one of the parts that does get passed, but there's many others that are needed, and it would be really good for the American people on top of all the good we've already done through the American Rescue Plan and the bipartisan infrastructure bill.
And despite the polarization in Congress, there are some pieces of legislation that do get bipartisan support. The House passed the America Competes Act, and this deals with technology and manufacturing. Congressman Schneider, what does this bill do, and does this have chance at passage in the Senate?
I think it does. Well, the Senate's already passed a version of that. They call theirs USICA. In the House, it's the America Competes Act. This invests in our kids and their future, making sure that we are building the capacity to compete with China and any other country in the future. It works to address supply chain issues, in particular with respect to semiconductor chips. We're seeing in many industries as much as stockpiles of only 5 days of supply. This would bring some of that manufacturing back to the United States so that we're innovating, we're designing those chips here, but we're also manufacturing and fabricating here in the United States to give us that competitive edge. It invests in our ability to just make sure that the United States is at the forefront of new technologies going forward and not ceding our leadership to other countries like China.
All right, we'll await the future of that bill. And our thanks to Representatives Brad Schneider, Casten, and Robin Kelly. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.